Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, guys.
God, that almost sounded like good morning, Bosley.
Come on, girl.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm going to be behind the curtain today for the most part, and we have a low bandwidth individual, Marianna, so I'm going to be adjusting her camera throughout when it clicks in and out, so it's not me messing with her, it's me fixing the internets. So let me see if I can get her back in here.
This is when I come in and I take my pitch for rural broadband internet as an equality issue all across this country.
Yeah, for sure. We need that so bad. That's why I sold my house and moved, just because of the internet. I mean, it was out in the country and everything else. But anyway, we're starting out with Fearless Friday, and this particular show today is a dedication to all of our frontline, I'm going to call them heroes. A lot of them have died trying to help us through this COVID Kairos time of our crisis here. And up on the screen here, we have several people, just like regular people. They're regular people. They're you and me. They're Marianna, Amber, Shanda, Rhonda. They're just people. And I'm going to run through it real quick. I'm not going to put names with them. They've just died through this crisis. The moms, dads, brothers, cousins, everybody. So, yeah, kind of a somber way to start off this Fearless Friday. But I think we'll get that in the second half of the show today. We're going to start off with what's in the news, again, as we usually do. And it's the wonderful world of insanity out there. So let me run this clip, ladies, and then I'm going to shut the hell up, and then we're going to let you go at it. Oh, you know what? I'm bad. Marianna, I want you to introduce yourself. Just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and you're running for office. I apologize. Go right ahead.
Gosh, the who I am and the what I do part is really hard. Okay, so I'm Marianna Everson. I'm running for LD19 state rep because everything's just too damn hard, and it doesn't have to be this way. I'm a founder of Our Revolution, Coastal Washington. I'm a PCO from my precinct in Montesano 602. I'm a state committee person for Grace Harbor, to the Washington State Democrats Central Committee. And I'm running for national delegate for Bernie Sanders because, like I just said, everything's too damn hard and it doesn't have to be this way. So I'm here as my role as a registered nurse, as a mental health professional, work in a mental health facility that helps people in crisis. And I'm a former critical care nurse at Grace Harbor Community Hospital, and I've taken care of people on ventilators, just like the one that was discharged from Grace Harbor Community Hospital, who had COVID-19.
So,
Marianna, you're just this is just amazing. You not only go in and risk your life daily to take care of your patients, you're fighting for every single person and for those that you don't even know. So not only taking care of and trying to better a person's life, you're trying to better all, especially our in LD19. You stepping up and running to represent is just thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, nobody else was going to do it, so I am.
And more people should take the lead that you are showing with courage and conviction. And you also have opinions on breaking news items, just like everybody else. So let's get this going here so we can get to the second half of the show. Here we go.
Indeed, we do. We've got David Sirota on. He's going to talk about some of his latest reporting as it relates to the scenes that we're watching unfolding and are going to cover all day in Minneapolis and across the country. We have Mike Breuer on. He's a challenger for Senate in Kentucky. He's been endorsed by Andrew Yang. And coincidentally, we also have Andrew Yang himself in the show today, so a lot to get to, but we are going to start with these incredible scenes that we've been watching unfold in Minneapolis.
So we have a lot of developing things that happened overnight in Minneapolis, which is that protesters, some rioters, the city of Minneapolis decided to tell their police and fire departments to stand down. You can see there that some protesters, rioters, and others set fire to separate police precincts in the city, one of which was closest to the location where George Floyd was murdered by those officers. And then you also can see that that right there was an affordable housing complex, which was set to open next year for the poor in Minneapolis. Overall, it's just a highly tenuous situation. And Crystal, I think you and I both know that this was largely sparked because the information that came out from this prosecutor, the county prosecutor who's responsible for bringing these police to justice. Now, he spoke to the press yesterday in a jaw-dropping statement to both of us, essentially saying that there was countervailing evidence that may not merit a criminal charge against these officers who have been fired from the police department. Let's listen to what he said in full.
It's a violation of my ethics to talk and evaluate evidence before we announce our charging decision, and I will not do that. I will say this, that video is graphic and horrific and terrible, and no person should do that. But my job in the end is to prove that he violated a criminal statute, and there is other evidence that does not support a criminal charge. We need to wade through all of that evidence and to come through with a meaningful determination, and we are doing that to the best of our ability.
Okay, I'm not going to let Crystal and Sagar talk about it because I've got 4 of the smartest ladies I know going to talk about it.
Oz, can I interrupt you for a second? Good morning, chat. The chat is saying both your mic and my mic are very low. Can you turn us up a little?
Okay, is that better? Shanda, I can't do much about your mic, but I will check the audio stream, and I apologize, everybody. So back to the story here. What do you think about that, ladies?
That's such bullshit. Actually, that's the first I heard about it. I kind of took myself off of news overnight and just getting updated now. And I'm pissed, and I totally understand. Even without knowing this piece, I was still understanding why riots were happening. But totally understand why it's escalating. It's total bullshit. Total bullshit. They should be arrested, put in there. And anybody else they would be.
This guy's a Democrat too. So just to let you know, we're hearing Amy Klobuchar at one time could have prosecuted the same police officer, 19 incidents in 20 years. It just speaks to how our higher ups and our elected officials do not follow through. They do not care about the community. They're not prosecuting them.
And I just want to say too, the original reason why he was being arrested was suspicion of using a fake $20 bill at a frickin' convenience store. Like, give me a break. Somebody had to die over that. It's insane to me.
And he couldn't have, maybe he didn't even know that it was. He could have gotten it from another store or bank, somewhere else, and he wouldn't even have known. It's all fucking bullshit. They don't give a shit about us, and we have to be the ones that care. We have to be the ones that lead this and make this happen, where we change our world, because the people that are elected and the people that are in charge of this shit, they don't give a shit about us.
Right. Even the store owner who called the cops initially came out and begged them to stop.
It's just ongoing, and it
would have been any of us that did that. No, I mean, not the store owner would have still called, because if there is a suspicion of, if they did it after the fact, this could be. And it sounds like he didn't do it out of malice. Like, we might have gotten one. He was like, say, this guy, none of this. No, we would not be on the ground like that. We would not have a knee in our neck. We would not be dead.
And that's a ridiculous privilege. And to our communities of color, it's so insulting that we've been communities have been peaceful. Communities have stood up. They've gone to court. They've stood in front of courthouses. They've stood in front of city councils. Not a damn thing has changed. It's only gotten worse.
Well, let's see who they did arrest. You want to see who they did arrest?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see who they did arrest. Let's see this. This blew my brains out, ladies. This is just unreal.
Outrageous to imagine that we need to wait longer to figure out more what happens before arresting and charging these individuals. At the same time, who does get arrested? An American journalist, CNN journalist,
right,
trying to cover Omar Jimenez, who does happen to be a man of color, who was covering these protests live. And we watched on CNN as him and his producer and his audio and his camera guy all arrested by the police, being completely respectful, trying to do everything they can to stay within where the police want them to stay. Just absolutely unbelievable. Let's watch that footage right now.
And this is a scene here playing out in Minneapolis. This is part of the advanced police presence that we saw come over the course of really minutes when the local police showed up at the fire department, or with the fire department, I should say, on that building we showed you that was burning. This is among the state patrol unit that was advancing up the street, saying and scattering the protesters at that point for people to clear the area. And so we walked away. I'm sorry?
You were under arrest.
Okay. Do you mind telling me why I'm under arrest, sir? Why am I under arrest, sir?
Officer's with CNN and he's on the air right now. You are arresting him live on CNN. We told you before that we are with CNN.
I believe they're about to, we're all about to be arrested. That's our producer. I'm probably going to be taken in a minute. We were just, like I said, just reporting on the closure.
One of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I actually want to give an update here. So, I mean, after that happened, we covered here, posted already about how the Omar has been released from the police. He's back reporting live on the air.
Hey, Sagar, why was that staged, Shanda?
Yeah, okay. So first thing I saw this morning when I rolled out of bed was this. And I thought, oh, well, that's terrible. But then I watched it a couple of times. Go back and rewatch it. His arm is already behind his back. The cop is gently holding it as he's reporting that he's going to be arrested. He says, I'll probably be taken away. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm jaded, but I just don't tend to believe CNN. I think they stage a lot of this shit so that way they become the story. They don't report the story. We see this over and over with CNN. I could be wrong. Maybe they told them to move 100 times and they just got fed up. But from what I can see in the context of that clip, I think it's staged.
Absolutely. Absolutely staged. It's called the Smith-Mundt Act. They had a modernization pass in 2012. It's pure propaganda. Anybody else being arrested or that's been arrested by the police in these protests was not taken down kindly, was not slowly been able to give their arms behind their back. No, I've seen the, rubber bullet wounds, the tear gas and frontline people helping support, being activists. This has been happening for a long time. And while of course violence is never the solution to anything, that's also how our country was founded. We came, we raped, we pillaged, we threw tea in a Boston Tea Party. We were not violent extremists. We were pissed off over taxes. Gee, what's changed?
Rhonda?
I think it's about time that some people of privilege get arrested and get taken down. And if this reporter for CNN, he's a person of color, but people that have big jobs or think they're important, it's time for them to get arrested and get uncomfortable because this shit isn't going anywhere. We all have to be able to put ourselves on the line because you know what? We're already on the line. We're already there. We're already on the line.
Well, and that just brings us back to these lootings that have happened. And it's the real looters are the millionaires.
Right. Like I said, I don't know the context of this. He was a colored man, but I just don't feel bad when CNN is getting arrested, whether he is a colored man or not. I kind of look at CNN as a whole as privileged. So, show us some of the real takedowns, some of the real protesters getting arrested, not this. Was it staged? I don't know, but it sure looked like it. It's CNN. I don't trust anything they do.
Rhonda,
It did take, the focus off of where it really needed to be. And so even if it was legit, to use up the time to focus on the root cause, what's really going on, and sticking up for those in the street. Anything else is just propaganda, and it's just disgusting.
Pat asks, what would be the end game for CNN and the cops staging this? Ratings?
I got them headline news that they're so edgy, so maybe we should switch and watch them because they have the real story. And look, they weren't violent to that guy. They were pretty kind to him. So why are we being so sad? It's showing the police in good favor, honestly. And it's showing CNN in good favor. And those two are mutually exclusive benefits.
Well, yeah, that was really gentle. Being arrested, they waited for him to finish his dialogue, and then they took the mic away, and then the guy goes and says, "You're being arrested." Now, haven't we seen everything else? You get slapped down by 3 or 4 police officers. No. You get slapped down by 3 or 4 cops, and then they put their knee in your back. They throw handcuffs on you, and you're face down in the dirt. So why didn't that happen to Mr. CNN there? Huh? What's up with that?
Well, if you look at other protests where people get arrested, when things are, done ahead of time, police and them do talk. Like, okay, I know you're not going to leave, so we're going to have to look at, arresting you. And they'll talk to, okay, you got like 5 more times last time. And so there is dialogue. So yes, this was staged at least to a certain point. And so they knew what was going to go on. The police don't just stand there like that with their hand on there and let you talk. It's like, okay, if you're not going to leave, we will have to arrest you. And the reporter may have stood the ground. Yeah, I'm not going to leave. So go ahead. I know you're not going to hurt me, whether how long in advance it was set up, or, whether, okay, I'm going to take one for ratings and get arrested. Okay, guys, you ready? Okay, camera. It's staged to at least some certain degree.
Yeah, well, ladies nailed it, in my opinion, again. They want to show how the police force is supposed to be acting with us, with, taking care of us, make sure we're okay, don't hit your head on the edge of the car door going into it, all that crap. So, again, there's not a lot we can talk about this segment anymore. Other than the murders, the recent murders of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor in her own home, getting served a warrant for arrest, and it wasn't even her. They went in and shot her, and that was in Detroit, I think. And then George Floyd this week. I mean, no wonder everybody's losing their shit. At what point do we get into this thing about what Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall last night with his tweet saying that when the looting begins, the shooting starts? What the hell is that? What kind of leadership is that from the cray there? I'm beside myself. Can we get some comment on that tweet he had that I just recited a part of?
Let's talk about looting. Who's looting? The CARES Act, the HEROES Act, that's looting. We like to pigeonhole looting into just putting it on poor people. They go in and they steal stuff, but we're being ripped off blind by the global elite and the corporatists. I've been calling it a smash and grab forever, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely. It's 580 million people throughout the world in poverty, and we got 25 billionaires taking almost $300 billion in 2 months. So who's looting who? Big deal, AutoZone, whatever. Let's look at the reality of this.
They'll just get some insurance money. I mean, that's all it
they're
is.
covered.
And then that's good to me, I think. Like, make the insurance companies pay. They got tons of money. They're the oligarchs that we fight against. So sure, make them pay the insurance benefits to the places that get looted. Heck yeah.
Spend some of that $5 trillion handout they got, right? On
That's right.
Stuff like that. So yeah, again, I see the chats, chirping pretty good there. Good morning, Jilly, Melissa, Franklin, Pat, everybody. Welcome to our Fearless Friday, and we're being fearless as we can. I caught Melissa said something. 2 of the 3 were white. That's why they were easy on them. Well, probably, maybe. I don't know what to say. 2 of the 3 of them were white. That's why they were easy on them. It was staged, whatever. It was totally staged. It was for optics. This is how our police force works in this country. And CNN wanted to get them a highlight reel. So, personally, I'm sick to my stomach over this. I just truly. So before we finish this out and get on to, the second part of the show, man, this last 20 minutes is just blown by, ladies. I'm going to use a reference to one of our historians, our great leaders that I have just unstoppable admiration for and sacrificed his life. This shot kind of is a metaphor. There's an invisible line there, and I don't even know what to call that invisible line between the police and the people. But in relation to that, we have a quote here from Martin Luther King Jr., and let me get that in there so everybody can see it. Martin Luther King Jr., and this is in relation to the Berlin Wall. Martin Luther King Jr., for here on either side of the wall are God's children, and no man-made barrier can obliterate that fact. Well, I'm not into that aspect of religion, but I respect everybody who does, because all I can see is good in that statement. And when we see our children, like, Ahmaud and Brianna and George get murdered, they're children. Can we stop killing our children? They're somebody's children. So if you ladies want to finish up on that with those great words from a great man, we'll get out of this one before we get too much locked into it.
I just know that it's a lot. My gut just hurts every day. I see my children's faces in these videos and these photos and these. So yeah, please stand up and get out on the streets and do all we can to stop it. We know that the system is broken, and we need to, we need to tear it all down and revamp what we've got. It's not working, and it's only getting worse.
I absolutely think that this is inevitable.
Yes.
What do they expect? They keep their boot on the neck of the working class and the poor, and then they don't expect us to ever react.
Yeah. It can only take so much before you break.
And there are actions happening.
It's already... Sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say that there are actions happening all over the country over the weekend. And right now, America has 2 choices, in my opinion, and that's to be an ally or be an accomplice.
Marianna?
It's already so bad. It's already so bad. So what do we got to lose? I mean, I already said they don't give a shit about us, but they really, they don't care if we live or die, and they probably rather that we die. So it's up to us to take care of each other and make this statement blasted throughout the whole world, the whole country, because we as Americans have a certain amount of privilege, no matter what our skin tone, to the rest of the world, right? We already have, and so we are offended because we thought we had this great country. We grew up thinking that we were the best in the world, and we are totally offended, and we're either like fighting against it, or we are fighting to deny it, to deny that we're the reality that we're not the greatest country in the world anymore, if we ever were. And so people are fighting so hard to be in denial of that. They're like, they want the truth to be that we are so great, but we are not.
I just want to report Al in the chat says that they just did take the officer into custody.
Oh, good.
Finally.
Finally.
Pretty damn late, you know. And I was watching what was happening.
Just the one?
Just the one.
Just Shalvin? Just Shalvin, not Theo, the guy that was standing there watching him murder the guy? Didn't take that guy in yet, huh?
That's why you're an accomplice.
Guys that were holding on to him.
Well,
So, you know, and I was watching LA when they were marching the other day, and I was helping broadcast and live stream that around. And, you know, my daughter, my 9-year-old just happened to walk by right as she saw the police officer speed up and tag and injure a man protesting. And, you know, when they went by the detention center and you could hear the inmates inside pounding on the walls in solidarity, like that gave me chills.
Yeah, I had to explain it to my 7-year-old granddaughter too, because, you know, I'm so involved in watching these stories, so I can do these type of shows. So she's going to come across it. She hears it. She sees me watching it. And it's tough, isn't it, Amber, to explain these to kids, what's going on.
I sit and talk to mine all the time. My niece, she's 13, and, you know, especially with social media and stuff, I'm always have to be up on top of everything. Like, what are you hearing? Have you heard this? And then let's talk about it. Because I want to make sure that they're getting the full view of things and really take the time to understand what's going on. And it's deep. We actually had a very deep conversation yesterday, her and I did. Like, very deep. The boys are gone, so it's not as deep, but I've had those with them, trust me, over and over again, because this doesn't go away. All these stories. So, it's such a hard conversation.
It is.
Well, go ahead, Amber. Go ahead.
I was just going to say these systemic issues in our society are just the wounds are just getting larger and they're not improving, and it's beyond frustrating. It's been my entire life. It's, you know, I don't want that for my children. I don't want their entire lives to be fighting this system, to be fighting for their friends, for injustices. It's got to stop at some point. We have to stop this. And it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take mostly people who look like me, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I hope everybody gets up, says something, and start acting in solidarity in earnest.
Yes.
Well,
good morning, Marcus.
We were talking about the kids, and I had to click away so I could make sure that I was going to quote this right. But my 16-year-old saw on TikTok, she's been following all this on TikTok because people are making content about this, right, everywhere. And she asked me some questions about it and stuff, and we had a conversation, and, you know. And then yesterday I came home from work, and she said, "Mom, I taught Hawk a thing." And she prompted him to talk, and he said, ACAB. I'm like, what's that? She's like, "Mom, all cops are bastards." So she's having conversation with her brother in a way that he doesn't know what that means, but he just was repeating ACAB because she feels like it's important for him to have some voice in this as a little 5-year-old boy.
Wow.
Tragic. Wow. It's tragic that we're at this point in our nation, in our world, where this is happening. I just again, it's just going to keep going, and it's going to elevate and get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So hope for the best, I guess, and do what you can to stop this kind of crap before it gets ignited. Lastly, I'll say, all the robberies, the fires, the burning, everything, 10, even 20 years ago, I was kind of like, yeah, they shouldn't be doing that, you know? They shouldn't be stopping down the freeway, keeping us from going to work and stuff. So, what are you willing to sacrifice? A human life for a freeway or some crap in a store or whatever while we're being looted and pillaged by our own so-called legislators, our government giving trillions of dollars to the wealthy? But you're going to arrest these people and shame them and make them out like they're the bad guys for taking some crap from Target. And then, just I can go on and on. You've all touched on this. I had to get my say in. So are we ready to move to the next segment, which we're going to talk about here is our frontline people, our mail people, our delivery, our service chain, the caregivers, the doctors, and everybody. This graph here went over. This is recent. This is up through May 24th, and this is the COVID cases spiking. An average, I believe that's what it is, shows cases reported since the previous day, updated less than 20. Well, I captured this last night. So this peaked around the 28th of March and started going down. I think people got their head out of their ass and started closing down states and restricting travel and businesses and everything else. And you can see it's been up and down, up and down. Some states didn't even close down. But my point is with this graph, and see if you ladies concur, we're at May 24th, and now it's starting to go back up. And I don't like the direction of that little blue line. And we have, for instance, Disneyland, Epcot Center, Knott's Berry Farm, all that vacation time places are opening up. They've already started opening, and they're going to open and open and open and open, just like on the front of the store. Open, open, open. These nuts are out there saying, let's open it up. What do you think? Do you think it's going to go back down anytime soon, or is it going to go through the roof?
I think it's going to go up. Are they going to, did they say how they're opening Disneyland? Is it like, are they going to keep people 6 feet apart? How are they going to make sure that happens? Sanitized wipes provided everywhere. Masks, not just regular masks, the N95 masks, because those actual masks that we're wearing do help to a degree, but they do not keep the virus out fully. So, yeah, it's going to go up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine. Like, Disneyland was hell on earth before that. Standing in line with your kids in the heat, I can't imagine trying to put, what are they going to spray us with disinfectants while we stand there and kill our immune system at the same time? We have to stand on this dot, then stand on that dot, and everybody just be in compliance and pretend this is fun and this is the new normal. And it's not the new normal. And I really feel, because, the not often talked about, it is our communities of color that are unproportionately having higher cases. So it is these frontline workers. It is people of lesser immune ability, apparently, that are being targeted by this virus. And that's the worst part about it in my eyes. And we're not addressing it. We're not addressing the reasons it's happening. We're not giving them extra hazard pay. If you look around at your grocery store checkers. That was one of my first jobs I had when I was 14. I was a dishwasher and I was a babysitter, and I worked as a checker in a grocery store until I started working in fish canneries and on fishing boats. And, it's not okay, and it moves right into our lowest paid healthcare workers, and they are not treated well. Most of them have several jobs at one time, and the exposure rate and the incidence of this virus causing massive harm have been horrific.
Shanda?
I can't agree more. Amber, you said it so well. Rhonda, you all say it so well. It's just like what we saw happen in New Orleans. There is very little reporting on after Mardi Gras how many got infected. And because it's a community of color, it's just ignored. It's not reported on. So, we talk about the statistics for the healthcare workers, which of course we want to know how many of them are getting sick. It's heart-wrenching, but we need to be looking at a full picture of this.
Marianna?
as far as opening up places like Disneyland and all that crap, this is all to do with the almighty dollar. It's all to do with capitalism and how much money somebody can frickin' make. And by opening places like this and all the stories that they do, it's open propaganda. It is lulling us into complacency, into deciding, what's right for us without the full information, the real deal, and the truth, because they just want to make their money off of us as usual. I say no. I'm probably never going to another fair or any kind of gathering that way. Probably never. My kids are going to be pissed, but I'm probably not doing that.
It reminds me of
I know too much.
It reminds me of the quote from Talladega Night where he says, "Why do people come to America?" And he says, "It's for our healthcare and our water parks." That's
oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Forgot about
Great Wolf Lodge is close to my district, and it's oh
god, no.
It was toxic to begin with.
Our Congress is about to, if they haven't already, pass a law that places like this have no liability. If somebody decides to go there, then they're liable. So they're going to open up Disneyland. People are going to go there. They're going to get sick and die, and Disneyland is not going to be responsible for that. No. Just don't go, people. Do not go there.
I have to agree.
Do not go there.
We've never gone to Disneyland. Never could really afford it. It wasn't like high priority. And I stopped going and taking the kids to the fairs and stuff a long time ago. It's just way too expensive. So we won't miss out on anything because we haven't been going for so long. And I say, don't go, stay home. We've got a couple years of this, you guys. And if we want to not overload the system too much, we've got to be careful, be smart, take precautions. And it's just sad that those that aren't taking precautions increase our risks who are. So please be mindful of your neighbors. Think of your family, even if they're not next to you. If you think that they could end up getting sick by somebody doing something that you're doing, maybe rethink what you're doing. Take it to heart. But I think it's ridiculous if they're just opening up these pieces. These are not essential things to have happen.
Thank you, Marianna, for pointing out that I've got a hot spot that's less than a mile from my house, which is the Great Wolf Lodge. And want to know something sick? That parking lot over there, not right now, but it is usually packed to capacity. And I'm afraid when they say, okay, it's okay, everybody can come out under the rock now, that's going to be overloaded. I'm scared to death for those people and everybody around there. And remember, everybody, we all agree that all these people that are losing their jobs and need money to pay their rent, yeah, they're desperate. Are they going to take chances with their life? Some of them are, but some of us aren't. We just can't. So there again, let's keep moving here. We're just moving right along, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit sticky on my flow today, but having four of you smart ladies talk at once is hard for me to keep up. This is from the Brookings Institute. Frontline, despite the hardships and health risks, millions of essential frontline workers continue to do their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic. These hardworking heroes are keeping America fed, picking up their trash, providing them life-saving medicine, delivering their groceries and packages, preparing food, cleaning their hospitals, caring for those who are most vulnerable, nursing homes especially, and keeping us safe, often while earning low wages and few benefits. I'm just going to get into the rest of this just so you can have some stats here. Although doctors and nurses who earn a median wage of $105 per hour down to $34 per hour, respectively, receive the lion's share of the public recognition for their life-saving role in the fight against COVID-19. They represent less than 20% of all essential health workers. Millions of the other health workers earn significantly lower wages while receiving less public recognition, and I don't really think they give a shit, despite their sacrifices. So let's give them some love too. Nearly 7 million essential workers are employed in low-wage health jobs on the COVID-19 front line. That's not just the health jobs. There's another several million grocery cash, all that stuff. Healthcare support workers such as orderlies and paleobotomists. I don't know what that is. Paleolobotomists. I need a lobotomy.
They take your blood at the lab.
Okay, thank you, Marianna.
Phlebotomist.
Phlebotomist. Thank you. Direct care workers such as home health, and personal care aides. I think all of us in this group have been that at some point in time. I did it for 15 years. 15 yealrs. So healthcare service workers such as housekeepers and cooks. Let's not forget all the contract workers, the janitors and everybody else in all aspects of the supply line. And I'm going to shut up now. I think that gives everybody some context here. Let's see who was. Shanda, you want to go first this time?
First, I want to thank Marianna. Thank you so much for putting yourself at risk every single day to be out there to help us. And, thank you to all of these low-wage workers, the people working in the nursing homes, the people cooking food. They are doing us a huge service. We need to be fighting so they are protected and they are paid adequately.
Okay,
Rhonda, that's very cool.
Rhonda?
Yeah, so I was in the medical field for a long time. I actually started in a retirement home, going to school, earning my medical assisting. Well, first I actually started off as a nursing assistant, so one of the lowest paid positions probably that you can get, especially in a nursing home. As far as taking care of people, wage, right? It's minimum wage, normally. It is very hard, backbreaking work. And not only that, it's very emotionally draining too. These companies, they just don't ultimately care. I'd leave and come back after a day or two off, and my residents would still be in the same things I left them in. And I know not every place is like that, but there's more than more opt than not that there is. Overworked people, underpaid. It's horrible. You're right. They don't necessarily need the praise or asking for it, but what we need to do is raise up their wages, like minimum double those freaking wages. It is very grueling, very backbreaking work. So thank you to all those that do that. And yes, again, thank you, Marianna, for going and putting yourself on the front line every day during this pandemic.
How many don't have health care themselves?
Oh, a lot don't.
There's
no union. I'm trying to get them to realize they need to unionize. Nursing assistants, there is so many of them. It need to unionize. It deserves so much more.
Amber?
I highly agree. Having worked in public health, as one of their front line, answer the phones, make appointments. One of my first jobs when I was kind of entering professional workforce, and moving on to being managers in places, having to hire people for housekeeping jobs that had to pass a background check, had to pass a drug screen. We're working 3 and 4 jobs, having a constantly changing schedule. And I fought every day against the corporatocracy that, really was getting mad at me because I was upping their budget. And I'm like, look, I can't hire people at this wage. This is insane. You can't do that in one of the most expensive cities in the country. And, it all comes down to the almighty dollar and profit. And it's been incredibly frustrating. Childcare workers now are some of the also lowest paid people, most important job in our country, and not being supported yet considered essential because, the nurses can't go to work if we can't have childcare, or, it's just a cyclical problem that is only being exposed. And, it's part of why I decided to run for office. I'm so glad people like Marianna are. I also really want to put out there that I know a lot of people who have in my life who've been personally touched by this, and they've had family members, children commit suicide in their young 20s, and that is not being talked about at all enough. It's really, really heartbreaking. It's really difficult when you're maybe a college student or just graduating or thinking you're going to be able to start your life out and then have something like this happen, let alone the social impacts. So it's just devastating, our young people right now, and the services that support them and support this country. And that's why we're fighting. That's why we're not giving up. That's why we're going to keep talking about it and keep people connected and keep people safe. And I hate the verbiage that they're using, oh, let's stay distant. It's like, no, we need to stay connected. We need to stay connected, especially in times like this, because that's what keeps people healthy and safe.
Marianna, can you give your insights on this? And then I have a question specifically for you, please.
Okay. When we talk about skilled nursing facilities and people that work there, one of the massive problems with this situation is that those skilled nursing facilities are owned by massive corporations and conglomerates that their only concern is to make a profit. So they purposely keep their wages and benefits as small as possible for these people who are given their heart and soul. Nurses, CNAs, oh my God, the CNAs are the heart of this frickin' country, They wipe people's butts and give them showers and get them dressed and make sure they get their nutrition and they're getting enough water. I mean, these are the people that are keeping our elderly and disabled people, in any kind of comfort. And when you think about a skilled nursing facility, a nursing home, most of us think, oh my God, this is like this really stinky place where these old people are housed and stuff. And that's hard. I mean, that's hard work to keep these people at least at the minimum of what is dignified. And these people give their hearts and souls to make sure they love their residents. They love them, like actually feel they are part of their life. And then when, so many of them in these specific facilities have died, that is a massive emotional toll that, like you mentioned, Rhonda, it is a massive emotional toll. This is to them a part of their family because they see them, probably more than they see their own family because they're working 2 or 3 jobs, just to make it. They deserve way more pay and compensation. And, one more point I want to talk about for skilled nursing facilities being these huge corporate, conglomerates is that they're very powerful in this country. They are very powerful in this country. Even Bernie Sanders would not touch the skilled nursing facility in his Medicare for All bill. It's not in the Pramila Jayapal's bill. They're doing, in-home care, which would take a bite out of these giant corporations. But they are so powerful that even our most powerful allies have not even tried to touch their profits. And that's a huge problem that we're going to have to face. We're going to have to face it.
Excellent point, Marianna. Excellent point. I live in a retirement community. I have worked in 3 Alzheimer's wards. I spent 10 years taking care of the elderly, and you're dead on. Exactly. They don't want to give you wages. They don't want to give you benefits, and you do become attached to these people. You see them every day. You know their families. You know their life stories. There's not even close
how
to
they like their coffee.
Exactly.
So you learn their little quirks, right? And that's it. Oh man, I remember just being heartbroken each time I lost, my resident. Yeah.
I just had to hospice my grandmother in her last stages of Alzheimer's, and she was. It's beginning of life, end of life, and our prisoners, and I've constantly said that they really do get the short end of every stick in this country, and it's so unjust and unfair when there's so many caring, dedicated, amazing people that do this work and really shouldn't have to work 4 jobs, 5 jobs to pay their rent, and take care of their own family when they're willing to go and do so much for people they don't know. And that's why we're here. That's why we're having this conversation.
Marianna, my question to you, you say skilled nursing facilities. Does that include nursing homes?
That's kind of the technical term for a nursing home.
Okay, I just don't want people to be confused, because it's been my contention for the last 30 years that our nursing home system, the way we take care of our fathers, mothers, grandparents, everybody, in just that aspect of skilled nursing, is a disgrace. It's a goddamn disgrace how they treat the people there, how it's profit driven. It is a disgrace. And once again, I've been preaching from the gospel of justice all week, justice for George and Ahmed and Brianna. I'm saying justice for our elderly, our mothers and fathers, the workers involved in that. It's our responsibility. We can't push this off on somebody else. So I'm glad that I got that clarified. Our nursing home system in this country, especially in this time of pandemic, just shows us how much we need a universal single payer health care, no strings attached, no bullshit access, no bullshit anything, just straight away. You get sick, we're going to take care of you. End of story. So we're moving right along here. I just wanted to give a couple of more just stats here. The biggest impact of COVID, the biggest cases per 100,000 people is New York. Number 1. Number 2, New Jersey. Number 3, Massachusetts. Number 4, Rhode Island. Number 5, Connecticut. Number 6, Delaware. Hey, Joe. Illinois. That one is not surprising to me. And I'm not even giving you the specific death numbers and everything else. But that trend, that region, Louisiana, that's kind of off that region. But that northeastern region's really hit demographic, size-wise, everything else. So think about it. You're not alone.
Well, think about the number 1, New York. And think about what we were just talking about.
Yep. Cuomo,
come on, hit it. I was just sitting here like, are we going to bring up Como?
New York, nursing homes, big failure.
Failure, I call it murder. It's murder. It's just another form of murder. It's like robbery, theft, murder. I mean, we've got the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in so many ways, but those 4 horsemen, I would say, are more like the wealthy, the corporate oligarchy that's ruling this planet. Those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse incarnate. So that's my feeling, guys, and I'm going to stick to it. So let's start finishing up today. We bumped the movie today, again, because we have such wonderful guests. And we just want to give a shout out to everybody here. Thank you, Marianna, Amber, Shanda, Rhonda. Wonderful show. It was quite a bit more serious today because we've got serious stuff. Not that it isn't serious, but I try and bring some satire and some laughter in. None of this shit's funny this week at all. There's nothing is funny. This is serious, and it's going to escalate. It's going to escalate in a big way. So, I'm going to give everybody a final thought on everything we have had today. So let's start with Rhonda. Let's start. You get to go first this time. Final thoughts.
Okay. Final. Man, love each other. Just love each other.
I like that.
Look at how we can sustain our communities, our neighbors, ourselves. Here forward, it really needs to come back to us, we the people. I'm just saddened and heartbroken, but not surprised at where we are today. So just keep up the hope that we will bring change in the future, and don't give up. And thank you, Oz, for being so wonderful, as always, behind the curtains, more so today's show than others. And we appreciate you. And thank you all for watching again and putting up with us every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Shanda?
I just want to say I love these ladies on this screen right here. They motivate me, they lift me up, they build me up. And the voice of Oz, thank you so much for everything you do. And hey, everybody in the chat, I know this was a tough show. I've seen a lot of back and forth going on. Just remember, we are a community, we are a family. We're allowed to discuss these things and have a difference of opinion, but ultimately we need to be talking about them. We can't change anything unless we talk about it. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for having me. Just love. You're right, Rhonda. Love everybody.
I'm going to jump on that bandwagon of don't stay silent, stand up. You have to pick. You're either an accomplice or an ally. You can't stay home on this one. You walk around this earth, on this planet, on social media, however you choose to engage with your neighbors, your community, your government, your elected officials. You have to be the voice of reason, and you have to do it now, and you have to teach others to do it. And the minute we stop saying that because it's uncomfortable or unpopular is the moment we lose our freedom and we lose the democracy. And we've seen what that's done in our society over the years, and it's time it stops. So please, everyone, check your privilege, make space, make room, and stand up when you need to protect someone.
Marianna, thank you.
So it's a lot, it hurts, it's painful, and we're all going through it. You're not alone. We're all in this together. And what I agree with all that my friends have said here, that we need to be together, we need to take care of each other and all the stuff. But we have to organize. We have to build coalitions even with people that we may perceive that don't agree with us. There's a lot. We've been propagandized to believe that Republicans are this or anarchists or that, or what. No, we are people. We deserve to live. And so my final words are to stay alive. To stay alive and organize.
I don't think that could have been said any better. Stay alive and organize. Thank you so much, everybody, and Marianna especially. Thank you for coming in and keeping us to task here. I wanted to do something special today for our Outgo song as a dedication, tribute, if you want to call it, to as many, if not all, our frontline people. So I want to dedicate this song to Marianna and everybody out there, all of our frontline people. And this video. I did have some exceptional help from Shanda last night because I have to put these productions together in 5 minutes or less. So anyway, I did get a little more time to work on this. So again, thank you, ladies. Everybody, please think about our frontline heroes who are actually putting their lives on the line, and they're dying. It's a war out there, and we're going to make a difference. So let's have some justice. Thank you again. And here we go.
me a